That's how that worked. And every day, my cousin would look at me and say the same thing. Shouldn't we do something? Shouldn't we get involved? And every day I would say the same thing. They're married, it's not my business. That was my excuse. That's what I said to myself. They're married, it's not my business. This was going on for a year. And every day, or at least every other day for a year, I'd sit in the house and you'd hear it. Her scream, him hit. And every day I'd tell myself the same thing. And I'd also tell my cousin the same thing. They're married, it's not my business. So as I was coming in one day, I walk in, and there are police outside my building. I thought to myself, drug dealers, you know how that goes. That's how that works. Only as I'm walking by, I see her in handcuffs, their child being comforted by a social worker, and his body being taken out. And I thought to myself, as I sat there, ready to cry, as I sat there and watched my cousin shaking her head, I knew what she was thinking. We should have done something. And I sat and watched the police in my community. I sat there and watched the people in my community. I sat there and watched a child being taken away. And I thought to myself, if it's not my business, then who is it? And I thought to myself, we all live in relationship to each other. So if a relationship is bad, then it's my job to step in. And I'm telling all of you, because we live in a relationship to each other, if a relationship is going bad, it's your job to step in. It is your business.
This is an anonymous writing that was given to me in the Urban Male Leadership Office. It's a young man's story. As a young man in high school, I was faced with the difficult task of learning how to be a man. My deadbeat dad wasn't there to help because he left me and my mom when I was 5. Mom did the best she could, but there are some things a woman can't show a man. From my mother, I learned how to treat a woman. Mama told me treat a woman with respect and never lay hands on a female. I guess Grandma and Grandpa forgot to tell Dad that. Because he made sure he put his hands on my mother every chance he got. And I always thought to myself, if I were just a little older, just a little bit stronger, maybe I could have done something about it. I stood there for what seemed like, I stood there for what seemed like a long time. And then I made my move. Somewhere in my young mind, I thought I would be something my mother by passing her the extension cord. She offered a weak smile as if to say, thank you, you shouldn't have. When my father realized what I had done, that I had disobeyed him, and I had armed my mother, he immediately snatched the cord from my mother's hand and kicked me to the floor. While I cried, he continued beating her.
So this is another original piece I'll be reading for someone. It's unknown and the person's anonymous. It goes like this. Tears are always running down my face. I hang my head low thinking, what a disgrace. The tears are coming from all the damage you caused. What do you want now? A round of applause? I've watched you rape me and molest me right before my eyes. Now the only thing left to do is cry. You stole my virginity without my consent. Please tell me why this is the way it went. All I wanted was for you to get off of me. But getting you off of me wasn't that easy. You hit me in my face, then ripped my shirt. Then you pushed me to the point where it hurt. I remember like it was yesterday. Answer this. Will I ever forget about this and be okay? The thoughts are crucial, and all I do is cry. Sometimes I just think to myself, why didn't I die? The bastard didn't care if I lived or died. All he cared about was being satisfied. I feel dirty. I feel low. I feel used. I always know that I'm a victim of sexual abuse.
I don't know who wrote this, but the title is A Broken Mind. Worn down by the weight of your words and actions, I became weak. Stupid to stay, but scared to leave. I am alone and will lose either way. I think not for myself, but for what will satisfy you. There is no me, only you using me. The warning of danger no longer sounds. I follow blindly to your commands, erasing all of my wanton desires. My heart frowns, scarred so deeply inside, that it only lies visible through the darkness of my own eyes. And no one even knows. I wonder if they even notice a little. Will anyone ever see past my bright smile to see my broken soul?
The name of this poem is called Son of a Bitch. I have never been a bitch, and neither was I born a son of it. See, the womb that gave me birth did not belong to a female dog. It belonged to a female dog spelled backwards with a lowercase g, because I am a king. So it was only fitting that when the good Lord made me, he sent me down to a castle. Not a womb, a castle. My very own kingdom in the form of a woman with the heart of a man and a mind filled with so much wisdom, he makes King Solomon look like a fool. Have you ever seen perfection personified? The beauty in my mother's eyes cannot be described by any Shakespearean sonnet. Her melanin-rich, ebony skin tone, the color of dark chocolate, absorbs the light from the sun, then transforms it to a radiant smile, and you can feel the radiance shine from 100 million square miles. So in essence, my mother's smile outshines the sun. For how else could she have raised the sun that's brighter than the sun? I have never been a bitch, and neither was I born a son of it. So the hands that rocked my cradle did not belong to a female dog. They belonged to a woman who's a cross between Betty Shabazz and Coretta Scott King, who taught me how to treat a woman like a queen. The same day she gave me my very first ass whooping, fighting my sister at age 5. And as I stood there crying, she said to me, son, if it is true that a good Lord made a woman from a man, then every time a man lays a hand on a woman, he lays a hand on himself. Because with every single blow, he cracks open a part of his soul until the very thing that makes him human is blown away like ashes in the wind. This woman who wakes up every morning before sunrise to make sure her sun set before the sun sets. This woman who gave birth to a giant, then turned into a gentleman. This woman who wouldn't fall in love with another man just because the reflection of my father on my face would make it seem like she was cheating on her dead husband. This woman deserves to be called nothing less than a name fit for royalty. So I ask you one more time, what makes you think that I am a son of a bitch?